you want to go god tier with this question, okay? If it's that important, you want to really, really amp it up. So for me, it would be like
There we go.
I've just had a
Well,
beautiful iced frappuccino. By the way, it was you saw me slurping. Josh literally has told me he would have punched me in the face if I made the sound that I just made down the microphone.
throat actually. I said punch you in the throat,
Punch me in the
and I
throat.
just had I had a Guinness Zero, so I'm good. It's ice cold. Hey, Guinness Zero is good. Guinness Zero is only 70 calories. It's great. It was ice cold. It was wonderful. No
My
alcohol.
I hate Starbucks. By the way, I hate Starbucks with I do not like their coffee, but their frappuccino you can't legally call coffee. It's like a what is it? I don't know, like a sugar bomb.
Milkshake.
Yeah, milkshake. I think that is a much better way of saying it. So yeah, I had that. It was quite nice. Kimberly just dropped that off to me. So happy days. Um, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, my name is Jack Buffery. This is Josh Parkin. We are Horizon Strength, and we also run the Adventure Ready Strength Club, our premium, amazing community that is on the school platform. If you haven't checked it out, do it now. And we are coaches and we coach awesome people, get them awesome results. And we want to talk to you today about awesome stuff. So, Josh, speaking of awesome stuff, Saturday just gone, you just casually swam around St. Michael's Mount. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So for people who don't know what St. Michael's Mount is, it's a little like castle. Well, a little castle. It's massive actually. It's a castle on an island just off the coast of Cornwall, by a town called Marazion, and it's a famous castle, and it's twinned with another one, um, which I think is called Saint Michel or something in France. So there's another one in France, and it's kind of twinned with that, and it's a big famous castle. There it is. There's a picture of the mount there. That's a little YouTube video from my swim on the weekend. Now it's a mile and a half swim around this mount. And going into this, a little bit of pre-context, there was only 48 people um, swimming it. And when we did the castle to castle swim a few months ago, there was like 400 people swimming it. Now, what I'll say about that is that when there's 400 people doing it, you feel like you can take a little bit of step back and take your time starting. So you can take your time starting and warm up as you normally warm up and swim. When there's only 48 people doing it, you feel like you have to go straight away with everyone else. And so I blew out. Oh, there's my face there. I blew out pretty swiftly. So here you can see the start, and I'm right at the front, and it was just go, go, go instantly. Um, and the problem with the St. Michael's Mount is that day was pretty choppy. So for the first probably 30 minutes, I'm swimming against the current and it's super choppy. So it's like I was in a washing machine and I'm fighting the current. So the first half was brutal. The second half is quite the opposite. It like dies down and then pings you round and you kind of get slingshot around, which was quite nice. But yeah, managed to do it, which is good. It's been on the list for a while now.
Mate,
It's nice. It's
considering it was choppy, I cannot get over how clear the
water is.
water is. Like, because
Hmm.
when it's choppy down here in Gilly, especially, and sorry, Swampole, especially, to be fair, and then Gilly as well, it's nowhere near that clear. That's like incredible. So nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And there's like lots of underwater like
This is
forests
my
and stuff,
favorite. Like this shot you
like
got here, the
swimming over the
causeway here.
causeway. Yeah, so so with St. Michael's Mount, when the tide goes out, you can actually walk to the castle. They've got a causeway on the sea floor that you can walk across. But when the tide's in, you kind of and it's really cool because you're just swimming over it, um, which is pretty nuts. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But yeah, so it was a good little swim. So I did that on Saturday, and then that was fine. It was surprisingly all right. I did about an hour and 10 minutes. It was slow. It was slow going, but I think it's just because of the conditions right at the start. Um, And yeah, it was one that's been on the list for a while. Managed to get it
Yeah,
done.
it's really good. And you've done, what was it, 5K on Tuesday?
Yeah, that was Tuesday night, and it was a bit
Mm.
brutal because I went to the normal pool that I was going to go to, and they didn't have any sessions on because their timetable was wrong. So I had to then drive all the way to Cambrai. So I got there at 6, and it was only open 6 till 9. So I had to do 200 lengths, which is 5K. Um, so swimming for 3 hours. What I've noticed is I'm a slow swimmer. I'm not
Hmm.
a fast swimmer at all. I'm not my technique's not top notch, and I'm just not built like a swimmer. So I am slow. But what I've found I'm good at is I am just good at putting one arm in front of the other,
Mm.
just consistently. And it was really weird. The last like 30 lengths of the 5K, it was like I was hallucinating. I I was looking at the floor and swimming, and it felt like I wasn't moving forwards. It felt like I was stuck just in that
Oh.
position, but I was still swimming, and it just felt like I was stuck until I hit the end wall. I was like, that is, it was, I've never felt anything like it before. I was like, I was stuck in time as I was doing the
Mm.
length, and then I get to the end, but I just kind of got into a zone. Yeah, it's the longest I've ever swam. 3 hours is a long time.
So from that, have you got any more insights about the big event itself, like the 15K?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to be swimming for 9 hours.
And that's without any walls and not fighting a
Yeah.
tide or anything like that as
So,
well. So
yeah, it might. So I think I'm going to see. God damn.
Josh has hay fever, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, he's sometimes a little bit
We good.
sniffly.
It didn't come. So yeah. I don't know. To be honest, it depends on.
Nice and quick on the mute there as well. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on the conditions. Like, if the tide might help me, it might not. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's just. God damn.
Oh God, it's going again, guys. It's happening.
It's the way I've been fine all day and literally until this evening. There's a
Uh,
few things I'm worried about. There's a few things I'm worried about. One, I haven't trained fueling myself yet, so I need to do that. Fueling myself on swims like every hour, and I'm worried about needing the toilet. 9 hours in a wetsuit. You can't take your wetsuit off in the water, really. But I also don't want to get out the water because it
you
feels
sent
like a
me a
failure.
video yesterday. Did you watch it all?
The Steve Backshaw pooping video, yeah, it was
Yeah.
great.
And then they were saying about, yeah, it was just running straight through my wetsuit, through my leg of my
Yeah,
wetsuit. I was like, yeah, okay.
that's
I don't know if you've seen it, but he's released a full 11-minute video about this topic. So, yeah,
wow, brilliant. Yeah, of course.
so it might help. Yeah, I get it. I mean, but weeing, that's just easy, isn't
Weir's
it?
fine, yeah.
Yeah.
But pooping's like I don't. Can you go 9 hours without pooping? Some people seem to think that my body's just going to shut down and not poop, and I don't think that's going to happen because I know me. you know, so we'll see.
It's when you get out at the end. You
Yeah,
just like
that's it.
let's say you've done 10 hours of swimming, and then people are coming up to hug you. You're just like, get away from me.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Like, 'cause I could happily just poop in my wetsuit, but I know that there's going to be people at the end that are gonna want to be like, "Oh my god, you made it, well done," and I'm gonna just have like shit falling out of the bottom of my wetsuit. So that's what I'm worried about. The thing I think I'm gonna find most challenging thing right now is finding the time to swim longer than 5K. Because I'm going to struggle to find a pool that's open for long enough in one session for me to swim more than 3 hours, and it's just a lot of time. Like, say for instance, I just want to get 10K done, and that's potentially going to take me 6 hours. It depends where I swim. If I swim somewhere where the tide's helping me, it might be different. But I've got to find 6 hours. But then, depending on where I swim, I either need to find somebody else who's got 6 hours to come with me, or do it somewhere where the conditions are perfect and it's safe enough that I can just go like back and forth.
Hmm.
So that's going to be the hardest thing for me, I think, between now and then, is getting the time together to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you structure your your training or are going to, but like if you're doing like an easy swim, then like a medium swing, then a long swim or something like that every
Yeah, yeah,
week, and then
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I expect I'll be able to come and help you at a weekend,
yeah.
but it
That's
is
why.
just that's trying to find the time.
Yeah, so Tuesday nights is my pool swim day because I know I've
Mm,
got every Tuesday night free, and so I just go to a pool and I just do pick the longest session and then just swim for as. Now I'm just going to be swimming for as long as I can in that time. So if the session's only 6 till 9, I'll be swimming 6 till 9, and then I'll
hmm
just do what I can in that time. So yeah, it's what it is. It's fine, but so far, I'm PBing. I've swum the longest I've ever swum in a sea, and I've swum the longest I've ever swum in a pool. So
I mean,
pretty cool.
yeah, that's no small thing, mate. That's really good. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
How about
epic.
you? How's your running? Have you picking it back up?
Oh, it's gross. It's way too hot to be running, man. I have done a couple of short runs. As you know, I got quite bad blisters from the hike. So yeah, running has not been very easy at all. So I missed a week of running. I've got back to it this week, and it's so hot, man. It is so. I
Yeah.
mean, I get hot walking for. I've been walking anywhere, but well, how many steps am I on today? I'm on 18,000 steps a day, and that's like my daily average at the moment. So it's a lot of walking every day, and that's hot enough. And then putting a run in on top of that as well is just gross. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing it. I've got a treadmill in here, which I should be able to use actually, just to get the steps in. My new trainers turned up yesterday, so I've warned them to walk in, although I'm debating sending them back and getting half a size bigger. I've got the Hoka Speedgoat sixes, completely different from anything I've ever tried wearing before. Um, but yeah, it's going all right. And then the strength training is going okay as well. I'm just doing very simple strength training, upper body only at the moment because my legs just don't. My legs are finding the recovery from the running enough. If I try to add too much heavy leg work on that, then it's just not going to work out well. Doing a lot of balance work though, and like pistol squats on parallettes and stuff like that, which is still training the legs, but just
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
I'm not putting them into my proper program.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it's been so hot, hasn't it? So it's tough when it's this hot.
hmm
I mean, I've been sweating. I'm sat in my office, in my desk now, and I'm sweating.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, why don't you go really early in the morning or why don't you go really late at night?" Well, the problem is I have to be up at 20 past 5 anyway to be ready to do my classes in the morning, and then at night I need to be in bed by like half 9, which is still actually really hot at half 9 anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it's so yeah, it's it doesn't really make a difference what time of the day I'm able to do it at the moment. It's usually just going to be sodding hot, but it is what it is. I don't mind too much, and it all just adds to me to the idea if I'm doing it a hard way, then if it's colder on a day, then it's going to make it easier on the day, isn't it? So yeah,
yeah,
that's the way I'm looking at it. So it's yeah, it's good. It is good, but it's just tough. But that's why we do it, right?
yeah. Exactly. That's the
hmm
whole point is to do something challenging.
To do something challenging, and that kind of is a good segue into the topic for today, and that is mindset. So it's actually about having an adventure-based mindset. Now, currently, me and Josh, we used to do a lot of public speaking, and there was the year before last, we done 52 in a year. It wasn't actually one every week. Some of them we done like 4 a day on because we were having a real big push of it at one point. But yeah, we done like 52 in a year. So we crammed a lot of experience into a 12-month period. And we kind of knocked that on the head a little bit as we were rebranding, working out what direction we wanted to go with the business. But recently, well, we've both been saying it'd be good to pick that up again. So I've been writing a lot recently, just working through my thoughts, what I would want, what kind of points I'd want to get across, and a lot of it comes down to mindset. So this is all quite fresh of mind recently, and I thought talking about the mindset and understanding because we both work very differently from each other mentally, although we're very similar, which we have said before. I think as we've started doing more stuff together mentally, we think quite differently, and it's always good to get two differences of opinion. The one that I keep on going back to is that there's no way in hell the way you're aiming to do your swim, just backwards and forwards, that would be my worst nightmare. So for you, it'll work better for you. So that's really cool. I respect that. But it's not something I could do. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's freaking awesome. Um, but I think one of the what I'm going to do, and Josh, this is going to sound like a selfish episode from my point of view. So what I always do is interrupt me at any point, just to
Hmm.
let me know if any of this rings true, or whether you had a similar or completely different thing. Um, I think one of the things that's going to be really interesting for people to understand is that I never became a personal trainer because I wanted to become a personal trainer. And in fact, I put off becoming a personal trainer for so long because I didn't like sports and I didn't think people would take me seriously. So, what actually ended up happening is I wanted to become a life coach instead. And then I realized I didn't like life coaches because most of them were like in their 20s, didn't have any life experience whatsoever, and were more often than not pretentious little shits. So I was like, well, okay, like what can I do with this? And I was like, okay, I think the best possible way to be able to help people is take them through a physical journey that will highlight what it is to have plateaus, to have setbacks, to actually get injured, maybe to have problems thrown all the way, but all the time they will be doing something difficult, persevering and getting better. When you're looking on the timeline, yeah, there may be dips and troughs, but over, say, like a 3, 6, 12, 5 year timeline, there's going to be an upward spike. So that is the reason I became a PT, is to help people get better, and that is what it was, that identity shift there, and that's going to be a big part of what today's episode about is what helped me. So yeah, I don't know about you, Josh. What was the thing for you becoming a PT?
So mine was my becoming a PT was much simpler. Was that I was working in a leisure centre and they were offering PT courses government funded for free.
Nice.
And then I just did it, and then for me it was just like a career progression thing. Let's just do it and do it, and then I ended up in just falling in love with the the people, helping people and watching their like mindset and like change and them click. That's what I like seeing, is that shift from I can't do this to I'm gonna do this. That's what I like.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is as well, like, and this fits in. This isn't actually one of the points I was going to make today, but it actually fits in perfectly with the mindset thing. You do see people's idea of what it is to be fit change through experience.
Mm.
They might go in wanting to lose a bit of fat, but then they will start to get other goals along the way. So just the idea of committing to something, and commitment is part of, it takes discipline to be committed to something, and to have that discipline, that requires a certain type of mindset anyway. So all of that stuff links in together anyway.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think the first thing that I want to talk about with the mindset is the questions we ask ourselves. Now, we've both spoken a lot about this in depth. We've even done talks about this, just the language we use and what we do. But a lot of people, to their detriment, do not understand how important the questions that we ask ourselves on an everyday basis is. They're either helping us or hindering us. Like, the most common thing. So what I see most commonly is that people are speaking to themselves negatively. Um, so, for an example, we'll use fat in this example because this is actually going to directly relate to something we'll talk about later on. But for example, a lot of people will say, "Why am I fat?" Right, and then if you're asking a question and you will want to get an answer for it, then you're going to get an answer for that specific question. So if you're constantly saying to yourself, "Why am I fat?" the answers you're going to be getting back is, "Oh, because I'm lazy, I eat crap," and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So have you got any other ideas, any other examples of like bad questions that people ask themselves,
Um,
or that you may have asked yourself and stuff before?
yeah, I guess one is that that you get quite a lot of clients when they come into a session is why am I so tired, for instance.
Mm,
Well, we all know why you're fucking tired. You didn't sleep and you haven't eaten any food all day. You silly fuck.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So but yeah.
And it could, yeah, and it could be anything like that as well, right? It can be, yeah, why am I so fat? Why am I so thin? Or why can't I be that thin? And or why can't I be that energetic? Why can't I be that happy? Why can't I be that? The 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 point I'm trying to get across here is if you are asking, if you're in your brain, you're asking yourself these questions, you will get the answer to it. Like you will find it because it is a core part of what you're trying to do. So let's have a think about a solution for this. Now, the way I look at it, there is that we can add layers to this because um, here you go, Josh. I'll get you to put you on the spot here. What's a better question to ask rather than why am I fat?
How can I be in the shape that I want to be?
Perfect. Perfect. That's great, right? Because if we can then find the answer to that, then that's
Mm.
really, really good.
Yeah.
Because that's a constructive question, right? We're asking a question that we want to then that is going to give us an answer that's beneficial. However, I still don't think that's enough. And what I think that we started doing with Horizon, what I think happened kind of almost inadvertently, but subconsciously, it was along this route when we rebranded to Horizon from RDA and we had this idea for something that we wanted to build. I think we started touching upon the next layer of that straight away. And we've talked a lot about this without realizing that it comes around to this question. And I want to add another question to that. I want to improve that even more. So I'll put you on the spot again, Josh. How can we make that question even more powerful?
How can I get in a shape
Hmm.
I want to be in? Um, I guess there's a couple. Why does that shape matter? What's that shape for?
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
So, so I'd put you on the spot then, but this is going to make a lot of sense, as
yeah,
in like
go for
as
it.
to what Horizon is, what we put ourselves like, what we're trying to do, what we're trying to help people achieve here. So for me, the you want to go god tier with this question, okay? If it's that important, you want to really, really amp it up. So for me, it would be like, what is the most exciting thing I can think of to do that will help me get in that shape because it's just part of who I am. Okay, that is like that's the difference between what you might find in a normal gym. That would be a normal gym would be the answer to what you're saying, right? It'd
Mm.
be like, how do I get in the best shape I've ever been, or something like that. But what we want to provide is what excites me so much that this shape is non-negotiable. It's just going to come as a byproduct from what I'm doing because I'm doing this thing that I love to do, right? And I think that we've talked. Now I'm saying this, you understand that we've talked about that whole principle so much, like the excitement, bringing in other aspects of curiosity to life, that it almost makes the "why am I fat" question completely irrelevant in the first place because you're skipping all of that and you're going straight to the fascinating stuff that makes you want to experience life at a different level.
Mm. So is the shape like the why am I fat is really surface level, where and it's not really it's not a goal that's really exciting. It's just
Hmm.
something that what people probably think they should be doing, rather than if they go. They're usually people don't pick the exciting thing. Like I always wanted to fucking climb Kilimanjaro,
Hmm.
but I'm never gonna do it because I'm never gonna be able to do that. Whereas actually, if they just did that thing, they're gonna get fitter, they're gonna lose weight, they're gonna, and that's all gonna happen. But they've done that thing they've always wanted to do that really excites them, and they're more likely to want to do it because they're excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. And so I'm going to relate this back to what I said about becoming a PT. It was like I kept on saying to myself, oh, why would people take me seriously? But I was asking in a negative way, and I was thinking they wouldn't because I don't like sports or anything like that. But then all of a sudden, I changed the question to how can I help people in the way that I want to help them, and that just put a completely different spin on it. Okay. So, Josh, let's workshop this a little bit. I'm going to give you another challenge. I would like you to think of another question, another negative question that we ask ourselves, and we're going to workshop it and come up with the standard tier and then the God tier question.
Another negative question that I ask myself, like people would ask themselves. Um, why? So, well, I've got two.
Go on.
One would be why am I always aching all the time? Like, something get something like that in. Or a classic one, which is not specifically fitness, but people just say all the time is why does it always happen to me?
Oh, that's a great one, that is, isn't it? And so, just to like the elephant in the room here is we always think this stuff happens to us. It is just the way we are wired, and we will always look for that answer specifically. If you're asking yourself, why does this always happen to me? The answers are so destructive. It's like, oh, because I'm unlucky, or because I deserve it, or because I'm shit at this, or I'm bad at that. All of those things, nothing is going to be a positive answer to that. So that's probably one of the worst things we can ask ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, what's the standard tier thing that we can say to ourselves?
What if why does it always happen to me? Standard tier could be because you're not doing anything about it.
And
Maybe.
what's a question like? What's a question that we could ask instead of why does this always happen to me? What's a
Oh,
question we could ask ourselves?
yeah. Why does it always happen to me? That's like I'm already a bit stumped. I think. Why does it
This is
always happen?
good, right? Because this
Yeah.
isn't easy. This is a practice
No.
thing, but once you can nail that question, and it's going to be personal, right? It is going to be personal every
Yeah.
time.
Why does it always happen to me? The question I guess would be a standard tier question I could ask myself instead is why? What is it that's causing me to make me feel this way?
Yeah, I mean, we
Maybe.
can still find. So I would slightly rework that personally to something a bit more positive, like how can I make sure this never happens again, or how can I make this
Yeah.
better, like
There we
something
go.
like that.
Yes.
Okay,
There you go. I was
yeah.
stuck on the negative.
Yeah, and it's harder
Yeah.
because sometimes, and that highlights a point. Like that's why we have to be careful of the questions we ask ourselves because sometimes we're just reframing the words, not the actual idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
How can I
mean,
make my situation better? That's a
yeah,
good one. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah, just something simple like that. But then if
hmm
we're taking up to God tier, like where does that go? Do you want to have a go at that?
Yeah. So I guess then you would actually just be talking about instead of saying how can I make that situation better, you would be picturing what that better situation actually is and going, how can I do that? So, is that situation going to be, why does this always happen to me? Instead, I go, well, how can I make this situation better? And instead, I go, how can I fucking hike the Dolomites that I've always wanted to do because that's what my dream's been. I've been putting off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I think there's two different ways we can approach that particular question as well. So one of them could be one of them could be from okay, if this always happens to me, how do I turn this to my advantage? And then you're
hmm
looking for solutions. If it's unavoidable, if it's something at work that you can't avoid, then you're looking for a solution for the same situation as well, right?
hmm
And then something else you could do is this always happens to me because I'm doing this. What can I do to get myself out of this situation ASAP?
hmm
Like,
hmm
and what is the best, most quickest, effective way I can get myself out of this situation,
hmm
and just giving some urgency, some excitement to it, just to make sure that it's something that we want to do. Because again, like going back to the gym format, I think when we can reframe a question to be positive, but it doesn't stop it being boring. And then when we get bored,
Mm.
we pick the lot. We'll pick the path of least resistance, and that path of least resistance will end up eventually back in negative self-talk because we'll get
hmm
bored, right? It's like because
Yeah.
then it becomes okay. I made that change, but why am I not getting results? You're not getting results because you weren't fucking excited in the first place, and that is the difference between what we do and, in my eyes, like what a lot of other people do. We're trying to spark that excitement, that curiosity to make people want to go.
Mm.
Now, the next thing I want to mention the next big step of this is of the adventurer mindset is identity. And this is a really big thing. But the thing is, if you can go to that God tier on the questions, you already start to explore your identity. Now, going back to that I am fat thing, that can be someone's identity. And if you identify as being fat, what you'll end up doing, and this is getting subconscious now, but what you'd end up doing is looking for evidence for being fat. Like you'll be reconfirming the fact you're fat, and you'll be saying things like, "Oh fuck it, I'm fat." If you if you speak to a smoker, they won't say, "Oh, I smoke." They say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a smoker." They identify with that. If you're identifying with being a smoker, you're not going to want to quit. And then, like, same for non-smokers, right? They'll say, "Oh, no, I'm not a smoker," or "I don't smoke." Like, then it changes when they get rid of that association. But when you really start to identify with these things, it can get even more dangerous because we really the way we're wired is the way we see ourselves, the way we perceive ourselves, we don't want to be proven wrong, even if it's negative, and that can be a massive, massive problem. But if you've been through the steps of the negative questions and you've taken it to a God tier positive question, chances are you're likely going to start to find things that make sense to you. You're going to start to understand ideas about who you want to become. So I'm going to use my current training as an example right now. So with running, I never really wanted to identify as a runner. I am not a runner. I still don't believe I am a runner. Excuse me, I just need to cough. But what I do want to identify as is an explorer. I love the idea of exploring new places, new things. And if I'm identifying as explorer, I'm not going out running anymore. I am going to go out exploring. I'm just going to explore quicker. I know I'm 41 now. I'm going to be 42 in 6 months. Men at my age are at higher risk of cardiovascular problems, so I need to start getting fit. The best way I can convince myself to get fit is to apply it to an identity that I get excited about. So does that make sense how that connects?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of slightly different, but I decided when my wife went to India, I decided to stop drinking. And the easiest way, and I haven't drank since then, and I found the easiest way to do that is I literally just say I don't drink.
Yeah.
So when people ask, "Oh no, I don't drink,"
making a statement. It's a statement. It's a fact. I don't drink. Yeah.
It's so much easier as well. So like, what I find with that identity thing is that if it's a statement like that, people don't question it or challenge it. You know, whereas if I said, "Oh, I'm trying to not drink," you know, and it'd be, "Oh, you sure, you know," and then it'd be hard work. But now that I say I don't drink, like one of the hardest places to not drink would be the in-laws' house because they always have booze in the house. So every time I go over for dinner, they'd offer me a beer. Now every time I go over dinner, they've already got 0 beers in the house. So
amazing.
It's great.
Yeah.
So because they think I don't drink anymore, so they just supply 0 beers. Wonderful. So then you get less of that challenge. So if you're saying all the time that this is what you're doing, the people around you kind of fall into that as well and almost just go along with the ride, rather than if you're like questioning it and then people try and pull you away from it, because that's what people do. They'll constantly try and pull you away from it. If you're like, "Oh, I'm trying to eat healthy," rather than going, "I don't eat processed food. I just don't do it." People go, "Oh, I just won't supply it either." Like, if you say I'm a vegan, nobody's going to try and coax you with meat, you know? But if you go, "I'm just trying to cut out meat," people are like, "Oh, this steak is gorgeous."
Yeah, exactly. But I was asking with the bacon sandwich. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm interested in this, and you might remember, you might not. It might actually not fit this framework, but we'll see. Let's retcon this a little bit. What were the questions you asked yourself initially to come up with that answer of "I'm not a drinker"?
What were the questions I asked myself initially when it comes to I'm not a drinker?
So at one point, you must have asked yourself. You must, and this isn't necessarily fit the framework, but you must have asked yourself, "Am I drinking too much?" Basically, and even if and too much is a scale, right? What one person's too much is definitely not what another person's too much
I think
is, right?
it was definitely one. It was like, am I drinking too much? Or and two, it was like, why do I keep making myself feel like shit?
There we
You
go.
know,
Yeah.
hangover. Why do I keep making myself feel like shit? And
Hmm.
then it was like, what are you gonna do about it? And then just
I
stop.
mean, so again, this doesn't go with the god tier, but you would have 100% asked yourself after that, what do I have to do to stop feeling like shit? And the answer would have been stop drinking. So even like the non-god tier will still lead to those better solutions,
Yeah,
right? So just that
yeah.
first initial reframing. I
It
don't know. Did
did.
you have a god tier moment? I'm not sure.
I think it did for me. It was how so. This is not fitness related at all, but it's how am I showing up as a husband and a partner?
That
And
is a god tier fucking question, right? Because
exactly.
that is identity as a
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Mm.
am I is this a detriment to my relationship? And so yeah, that's what it ended up being. Um, so yeah. So that's how it kind of motivated me, I think, to stop. So yeah, there was that god tier element, I guess. Yeah, when you really think about it, yeah.
Yeah, and then this is this is the case of everything. So if you look at any decision you've ever made in your life, no matter how big or small, there has been a question at the forefront of it. It's just all thinking is there's statements involved, and people think, "Oh no, I've just told myself that." It's like, yeah, but you had to ask yourself a question to get to that statement. Like even if it's innocuous, like even if it's even if you have just picked up your phone, you haven't just picked up your phone. You've said, oh, "I wonder if anything new has happened." And you're looking at that for a reason, okay? If you're going to bed, you've asked yourself, what's the time I should probably be going to bed? Or as every action has a question, but what we need to understand is that the things that require big actions need better questions, and that is what we try to do with this. So when that does eventually, like when you start asking the better questions, even if you're doing it kind of subconsciously, I guess it can't be subconscious what you've done because it was a very conscious decision, but you weren't thinking of this framework basically. But when you get to these kinds of answers that really affect the identity, that's when you know you're onto something. And the more the outcome, the more that identity excites you, the more you're likely to do it. So again, to use running as an example, there's two layers to that. So I'm identifying myself as an explorer, and for me, that's me. That's my personal identification. But I'm also identifying the task of running as a way to explore. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm making the subject fit the identity that excites me the most, and it's just such a powerful tool to be able to use, and that can be applied to absolutely anything. If you want to, I don't know. If you want to, I'm sitting next to a drum kit. So if you want to learn the drums, and you and you want to be known as a drummer, then you might say something about your time, and you'll say, no, this time is time to refine the expertise that I want or this is the time that I want to be able to just fucking rock out.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever excites you the most about playing those drums, that's what you've got to identify that situation as. But you have to identify as a drummer first of all. Like if I didn't identify as someone who loves exploring as an explorer, then I would struggle to just identify myself as a runner, just as a way to
Mm.
get fit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely get it. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. And I, this is interesting because I put out a email chain recently and post actually yesterday on LinkedIn about stereotypes because this kind of leads into that because stereotypes are just identities, I guess,
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
sense. And what I hate is often people give themselves a preconditioned identity. Um, we train a lot of women and get a lot of women in who say, I'm not, they have this identity in their head that they shouldn't lift heavy, they shouldn't get bulky, all of those sorts of things. And I think it's very regressive in a sense that it's just telling them they should be small and weak and they shouldn't, you know. And I think we should be celebrating people like women getting strong as fuck and lifting really heavy because it's cool as hell. I mean, we've trained women to get super strong, and it's cool, and it's epic,
Yeah.
and that should be the identity.
Hmm.
But they're still hung up on preconditioned stereotypes, and I think everybody's hung up on that. Everybody has their own preconditioned stereotype that they're stuck with, and that leads their identity. So it's how can we break those to then them create the identity they actually aspire to be or want.
Yeah. And I think, this is where social media can be a blessing or a curse here, because if you follow the wrong people on social media and think that's how I should be, instead of going out to find a person on social media who might not even exist, to be fair, it might be your job to become that person on social media. Or you don't have to on social media, just for yourself. But, if we look at and we've done it, Josh. I know for a fact we have. I know for a fact I have, and I'm pretty sure you have as well. We look at, say, maybe not a bodybuilder, but like someone who is jacked, like in really really good shape, and we're like, oh god, that's exciting. That's good. I would love to be like that. But deep down, there's not enough to make us want to become bodybuilders. Like, because the process isn't that exciting for us. It's great to get jacked. It's great to get big, but for me personally, I'm not going to speak for you, but for me, the idea of doing it, of training to become capable with a body that can just withstand mountains or seas or forests, that is way, way more exciting for me than the idea of just having muscles I can look at in the mirror.
Yeah, it's interesting in thinking about like where you get your inspiration from, like social media. So if we look back at if we use bodybuilders as an example, the early days of bodybuilding, the early era of bodybuilding, um, a lot of them got their inspiration, their identity from cartoons and comic books. A
Mm,
lot of them is anime, like a lot of them like Dragon Ball Z and wanted to look like Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Like that's the genuine inspiration for a lot of high level pro bodybuilders, and they identified with that persona. And a lot of people who get into fitness, like a lot of fitness guys, are majorly into fantasy books. So they read these stories of heroes doing these epic quests and doing all this stuff, and that's why they train. So there's a guy actually, he's a trail runner on Instagram. I cannot remember what he's called, but he like dresses up as a hobbit and runs trails,
hmm.
and like he's just really into Lord of the Rings and loves trail running because of Lord of the Rings, you know. So it's like you can identify with something that isn't real in a sense to
Yeah,
give you that
100%.
inspiration and
Yeah.
motivation. Yeah, if there's a story you love that gets you going. So like I read a lot of fantasy that kind of gets me excited. I know you
Mm,
read a lot of explorer books, like
hmm.
you've been reading Levinson Wood and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So that gets you excited, and you can identify with that persona to get you motivated and go.
Yeah, and then so an insight into the minds behind the voices. So Josh is currently DMing. He's a dungeon master. For those of you who don't know what that is, that could sound weird as fuck. But
Does sound weird, yeah,
he's
yeah.
he creates the game for Dungeons and Dragons that other people play, and one of the people that Josh masters in the dungeon is my missus.
Yeah, yeah, it's true,
I
yeah,
really hope people understand what a dungeon master is right now.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, she loves Dungeons and Dragons. She loves the whole fantasy thing. She loves basically becoming dragon-like creatures and fucking them up. And yesterday, I came across a reel of a woman who basically she is a cosplayer. She loves D&D, and she trains like an absolute weapon just because she wants to be the epitome of what her character is capable of. She wants to be able to do that cool shit. She's like, well, why let my character have all the fun? Why can't I do all this stuff? And I don't think she started it, but she's part of it. And there was just this crazy obstacle course with also weights and like Viking things and stuff like that, of just these 20, 30, 40, there might have been 100 of them, I don't know, women all dressed up in like fantasy armor and scales and had weapons, just doing this obstacle course and lifting real heavy weights
Yeah.
and just getting into it. If that is what excites you, 100% do it. We just use adventure because it is, by its very nature, exciting. That's what adventure means, to do these exciting things. But whatever you find exciting, fucking go do it. Use that as inspiration and say to yourself, how can this thing that I already love make my life better? How can it make me more exciting? Because why the hell not? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use that?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It's definitely, it's just stuff that gets me excited is all that weird fantasy stuff. I'm like, yeah, I want to be able to wear heavy armor and swing a battle axe, you
Yeah.
know?
Who the
Like,
hell
yeah.
wouldn't? Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
done a post in our school group the other day saying I think a lot of my, so I done a post about I prefer a through hike to a circular hike. And for, if you don't know
Hmm.
what the difference is, like a through hike is going from A to B, a circular hike is going from A back round to A again. Um, and I think it's because of my love when I was a kid of reading things like Lord of the Rings, like the Dark Tower books, and things like that, where there was a quest involved of a long journey. That's what has inspired me to love that idea of a quest, like that process of going from A to B, to enjoy that
Mm.
whole thing. So yeah, it's use whatever you need to get yourself excited for it, because it's just such a, it's an easy win. And if you go through the process of asking yourself the questions first, understanding what gets excited, like what excites you, you'll naturally come around to what you want your identity to look like, or what already excites you. And for a lot of people, they don't know. Like, you might not have even realized this about yourself before.
Yeah, it's like the bracelets that say, is that what Jesus would do? You know?
Yeah.
You just you pick the identity and then go, is that what that person, is that what that kind of person would do? You
Hmm.
know, and then start doing those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't be teetotal, would he?
Well, if you could turn water into wine, I don't know if you would be either. Um,
Yeah.
but guys, yeah, that is. I mean, there's so much we could get into when it comes to mindset. There's so many more things that we can deploy and just ideas. But
Mm.
I genuinely think that one thing I will say, and this I'll give a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, the credit for this, because he was one of the first people I started listening to back in 2013 or something like that. And he's actually a business guru, I'll say, but he actually came up with a lot of cool, basically his own what's the word, his own philosophy around stuff. And one of the things he said is that self awareness is probably the most important superpower you could ever have. And this obviously relates to identity, but so many people chase ideas of what they think they should be doing because they haven't taken the time to understand who they really are and what they want to be doing. So don't be that person, kids. Literally find what makes you passionate, find what makes you excited, and go chase those dreams, even if it's not as epic as you want to do it to start with. When serendipity takes over and you start to do these things and start to incorporate that kind of lifestyle, you're way more likely to find yourself in the situations that you want to be in than if you just ignore them
Mm.
completely.
Yeah, and like stop basing your identity and goals off of other people's opinions. That's
Hmm.
the thing, isn't it? Is everybody thinks that they should do certain things because that's what people tell you to do, rather than what do you want, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, it is Thursday night again. It is 8:15, and my tummy is starting to get like feel like it needs some food. So I'm going to get some dinner because I identify with someone who's hungry right now. But yeah, any questions on this one? There's a lot of big concepts here. So, and this is the stuff that gets me really excited as well. I love talking about this stuff. But yeah, this is a big subject for anyone, and it can really really help you on your journey. So any questions, just let us know. I have been Jack Buffery, and you can find me at Jack_Horizon Strength on most places, and you can also find us on YouTube. And Josh is
Horizon Coach Josh.
Horizon Coach Josh. Do us a favor, guys. Like, subscribe, comment, leave all the love because it really does help with everything. And we want to reach as many people as possible and get them fucking excited because everyone's life should be awesome. You all deserve it.
Yeah, buddy.
Speak to you next time.
See ya.